Hi guys, Extra Crispy here again, making some more movement stands, and I got a lot of questions on these last time I posted about them, so I thought I'd do a short video showing how I make them, how I use them, and why I like them so much. So first of all, these are magnetic movement stands on sheet magnet. I buy it from magnetking.com. You can buy it lots of places. I buy the very thick, don't know if you can see this, it's about 2 millimeters thick, and it's backed with white vinyl. I find that the white vinyl helps it slide along on the felt or cloth that we use at our gaming club, and doesn't snag, so that's very nice. You'll notice it's a little curved. That doesn't really matter that much. I find this stuff is available in rolls and sheets. It weighs a ton, so shipping tends to be high, so definitely a good item for a club buy, or see if you can find it locally. It cuts with scissors or utility knife. You don't actually need to cut all the way through. I find you can score it and then snap it in half. I don't get real crazy about making sure my angles are 90 degrees. I eyeball it and go with that. Here I am mass producing a bunch. Again, I just cut them to size and then I paint them green. I like this green, Ceramcoat medium foliage green. Whatever green you've got lying around. Definitely want to use the cheap paint. You'll use a lot of it. And once they're painted, then you can begin to customize them. And this is I think where they really become much more useful. For example, our club we play to the strongest, and we need to keep track of a couple of things. One is your activation number. It goes from 2 to 9, and so we use this little slider. The slider is just another piece of sheet magnet with a little twig, courtesy of my local park, epoxied on. I find you need something that's sort of grabbable. A casualty marker could be used, but those are very flat. You want something you can grab, because when the action gets to the middle of the table, you'll find you can't grab that something that's flat like a casualty marker. Because the magnetic stand is magnetic, my troops are based on steel bases. So here they are. They stay nice and firm in gameplay. You'll see that even picking them up, that magnet is pretty strong. The slider here for to the strongest, that's our activation number. You could obviously make sliders or similar type items to track strength points or morale status or anything like that. I also have, you'll notice, this little item, also again made a little piece of sheet magnet with a die stock. Now the die stocks I get from my local friendly laser cutter, and they look like this when I buy them. I get a whole sheet's worth, and then I have these little number stickers for marking them. I keep these generic because they move from place to place, but I get a couple of pieces of information here. Number one, the color of this bit identifies the player's command. So you know you either have sort of this orangey brown, or all your troops are this sort of light cream, or this sort of greenish tan. So that's a nice way for players to keep track of the units, especially if you play games where units are hard to distinguish one from another when they get to the middle of the table in a scrum, like Vikings versus Saxons. They tend to all blend together. The second thing is, as I said, it's a die stock. It holds the small D6. Again, another marker. To the strongest, I use it to track ammo, but again, it just gives you a second marker. I do this because it goes up and down. It's easy to see. If I've run out of ammo, I just remove the die. If you are using little pieces of sheet magnet, if they're self-adhesive, you'll need to put a little white glue in the bottom of here so that the die doesn't stick to the adhesive. But that's basically it. That's how they're made. I like them a lot. It speeds up gameplay because you can move entire units. And you can do a lot with them to represent information. For example, into the strongest, units take 1, 2, or 3 hits, and we represent that in our games by the number of rows of figures. So here we have some archers, 1 row deep. They take 1 hit. 1 hit kills them. Here we have warriors, 3 stands, 3 rows deep. It takes 3 hits to kill them. And some Viking cavalry, not a whole lot of this, it's my only unit. 2 rows deep, it takes 2 hits to kill them. Anyway, that's how it's done. Nothing, no state secrets here. Again, I found last game I didn't have quite enough. I cut them to width. Obviously, we are playing to the strongest. It's a square-based game. We use 6-inch squares, so these are 5 inches wide. I make them in a variety of depths. For to the strongest, we use 2 depths. You can see some narrow ones in the back there. Those will hold 2 ranks of troops. The deeper ones will hold 3 or 2 ranks of cavalry. So again, just sheet magnet painted. You do need to seal it. Anything else I forgot? Let's see. The little label here, I just make this label up in PowerPoint, print them out on label stock like this, and then put them down on my put them down on the movement tray when I'm done. You do need to seal them. I like cheap hairspray, but if you have a matte sealer, that will work as well. I brush paint mine only because I live in a condominium and I don't really have a place to spray reliably. I have spray painted them in the past when I had a garage. That works just fine. And then the last note is you'll notice they are a little curved. Don't worry about it. I bought mine in a roll, my magnet in a roll. It's got a good curve there. That will come out over time, especially as they are stacked. They tend to flatten each other out. If they're badly curved, just make a stack of them and stick them under a dictionary. But once they're loaded with troops, the troops tend to weigh them down. And a little bit of curve is actually not a bad thing. It gives you a way to grab the stand and move it around the table. Anyway, that's probably a lot longer than it really needed to be, but I got a lot of questions about how I made these and what I did with them. And there you go.